In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Good day, everyone. Nestor Licanto here once again for another edition of In Full Zoom. And this week, you're going to really love these topics. I'm kind of intrigued, and we've got Jason, who's I invited on because I know he's our resident tech guru, and he's very much interested in these topics as well. We're going to talk about driverless vehicles and drones. And here to talk about those subjects is Rod Boss. He is, of course, the president and CEO of DOCOMO Pacific, and Art Dawley, who is the president of Tech Center Guam and Aviation Concepts. He's going to be talking about the drones. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome, Jace.
Thanks. Thanks for having us.
Hi, everybody.
All right, Rod. So let me start with you. When you hear the words driverless vehicle, all kind of ideas pop into your mind. Tell us, first of all, what does that mean exactly, and how does a telecom company like DOCOMO Pacific get involved in something like that?
Thanks. We were pretty excited about this. As you know, it's been over a year, I guess year and a half now. We launched our 5G lab in our headquarters in Tamaning. We did that in conjunction with our parent company, with DOCOMO, which is the largest wireless provider in Japan. DOCOMO has relationships with a lot of different vendors, and they work on a lot of different solution business and products enabling these various products. And they had worked on this project with Sony in Japan. And so because we had our lab here and we were working on different concepts in the lab, they would ship this Sony cart over here, and we were planning to do some testing on that. Of course, COVID hit, and we kind of were waiting for a good opportunity to do that, but things have continued. So we ended up doing this last week, and we did this test really with the Sony cart from Japan. So actually, the cart was driving around our headquarters building in the parking lot, but it was controlled remotely from Japan using the 5G network. And so, it doesn't, we kept it at a pretty low speed, and when you're in it, it's got 4K monitors all the way around, and actually on the exterior as well. And so you can, it's just as if you're looking out a window, but it's actually a monitor you're looking at, and you see everything that's going on around you, but it's being remotely driven. So, it's just a concept that we're working on, that we've had some discussion on different applications, but we continue to try and develop applications for 5G.
All right. I know we've got some other questions for you, but first let me bring in Art to the conversation. Now, Art, tell us a bit about what your business does and why you're bringing this drone service to Guam.
Great. Thanks, Nestor, for the opportunity. I'm the president of Aviation Concepts, which has been a long-standing business aviation support facility here since 2001. We've been primarily providing support not only to the civilian commercial market, but to DoD contractors and military contractors involved in aviation activities. In response to the evolving technologies of our clients and also the commercial drone industry, we formed Tech Center Guam, which is a subsidiary of Aviation Concepts. In response to those needs, Guam is a fabulous location for R&D type activities on the commercial level. As Rod, DOCOMO Pacific, and other companies, the advent and the availability of 5G technology now, which provides very minimal latency for some of the technologies that are getting tested out in the region, make it even more attractive here. We're located on the airport. We have interested clientele and longstanding clientele and relationships that find what we can provide in the location in Guam here as very, very attractive. So that was kind of the main reason we got into it. It started several years ago and really started picking up a lot of progress and steam until COVID hit. We still are moving forward rapidly, but we too have been affected by COVID, but see great things ahead for the coming years.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
All right, let me bring Jason in because I know he's got a lot of questions for you folks. So fire away, Jason.
Oh boy, yeah. Where do I get started? So thank you, gentlemen, again for joining us. Like, it's a great pleasure to talk to fellow geeks about doing some really cool things, which obviously have a lot of implications for our island community. But I just wanted to kind of kick it to the both of you and everything, because Rod, I think you said very effectively, you're working on the applications for the 5G technology, and most people just think, okay, 5G, it's an upgrade of my phone. I'm going to be able to get Netflix faster. I'm going to download, ringtones, like at the speed of thought and everything like that. But 5G really has a lot of industrial and a lot of enterprise level applications. So what are you envisioning as far as doing that? And then maybe Art, if you can kind of jump in, how do you see drone technology being available and being applicable to not only the hobbyists here, but also maybe to local government, maybe with search and rescue operations, which has been done before, which is, volunteers just kind of coming in and saying, I've got the technology, I know how to fly. I'd like to help you out with finding a distressed swimmer or, like a lost group of hikers, and just things like that. I'm just spitballing here, but what do you gentlemen see as far as how this technology can improve things here?
Great. If you don't mind, I'll jump in. So 5G for me, there's maybe a quick story at the beginning, which is that when we were thinking of 5G applications, just after we started the lab, we were working with a bunch of different island operators and independent companies. One was a company down in Tuman who does weddings, and they were looking at virtual reality weddings, meaning that you would be able to not actually have to fly to the wedding. You could put on a virtual headset and you would as if you were there. And this was pre-pandemic. And I said, I remember saying, yeah, that sounds fun, but it's kind of a stretch. I don't think people are going to know. Look how relevant that is now, doing something like that. So a lot of this stuff is the applications that we're going to be using this technology for are, still being developed by entrepreneurs, by people who need it in the future. But our relationship with DOCOMO in Japan, the fact that we have this parent who almost looks at Guam because we're so close, they look at this as a test bed. They can try new things. We can get access to things like this Sony card, and we can do this kind of development here. And we're developing these things as we go. So somebody asked me a little while ago. They said, well, yeah, you've got some sites now in Tuman, here in Tamaning, and in Naganya. I think we have a site out by UOG where we've been testing out there. But they're like, when am I going to get this in Jigo or Santa Rita? And I said, well, I'm not making any promises because the market is going to drive that. And as people have those demands and they say, if somebody said, like aviation services, oh, in this area, we really need a better coverage because we've got all these applications, we're going to use this service, boom, we're there because we already have it now on the island. And realistically, there's probably nowhere in the world, an island, a place with this population that already has 5G. But we have 5G now because of that association, and we're able to get that technology and bring it to Guam first.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Rod, you were saying like initially when you began your 5G rollout of the network, you said like there were some interested entities, if not already testers of like telemedicine applications, right? That were doing like high resolution medical imaging, being able to send it over, without the delay, without the lag, without the loss in quality for the benefit of the patient.
That was one of the things, of course, is a big issue for Guam all the way around. I haven't seen much development on that, only because, really the fastest is 5G, right? I mean, not 5G for mobile, but the fastest is fiber. So if you've got a fiber connection to a fixed location, that's going to be better than any mobile service you're going to have anyway. Mm-hmm. So it seems like on the telemedicine side, except when it becomes remote. So if it's anytime you need to be moving around, then actually, yeah, you're going to need that 5G. So the development of that, the latency and the fast speeds out in a factory, you got vehicles moving around in manufacturing. For us, one of the things that I'm most excited about is fiber replacement. Meaning that instead of bringing the fiber into your house or into your neighborhood, I just bring it to my cell site in front of your neighborhood. I can shoot a 5G signal, high speed fiber-like speeds to your house. You catch it, put it inside your house, and suddenly you have that access.
No physical media that could possibly break or get severed by an inadvertent construction crew or anything like that. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Okay. Art, would you agree as far as deploying aerial technology on here? And again, what are some of the applications that you see?
Well, very similar to what Rod's discussing with the carts. One of the things that again is very attractive about Guam, and we're in the process of developing a drone port at the northeast side of the island. One of the exciting developments is the fact that we do have 5G capability now, and the people that are looking at Guam as a potential location and test bed for some of the new emerging technologies becomes even greater and greater. One of the things, or one of the real attractions too, is that on the east side of the Guam Island are literally thousands of square miles of what we call uncontrolled airspace, or airspace that is available for what we call beyond visual line of sight operations. And it's very, very difficult for companies that are based on the mainland U.S., even those along the Pacific Rim, to find and get permissions for use of these airspaces. Guam is a natural. We've had, over the past couple of years, several companies reach out to us, in addition to our existing clients, about conducting those type of operations off the east side of the island. None of it's possible without availability of 5G. These are operations that need to have near almost zero latency, or such minimal latencies that the data communications is almost instantaneous. It doesn't work on the R&D side unless that's available. So that's what's become very, very exciting. Not too long ago, a couple of years ago, the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration classified drones as aircraft operating in the national airspace system that extends all the way from the mainland U.S. well out into the Pacific and past Guam. These are airspaces that are regulated, and that, depending on the type of activities that are being conducted, either have to have very special permissions, authorizations from the Federal Aviation Administration, and again, that's what makes this location so excellent. Those availabilities are here. So,
Art, let me ask you, can you give us some examples of some practical applications for drones? What could you use it for? What could businesses use it for?
Almost a loaded question, Nestor. I mean, in almost everyday applications, these technologies are emerging so quickly. Everything from package delivery operations, as many of your listeners probably already know, companies like UPS, Amazon, and those are already conducting package delivery operations in limited type areas. Those will ultimately expand to a much greater area, and ultimately out to Guam. There's a local company already involved here in the preliminary work to get certifications for that. Again, those will be operations that are overseen by the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration. When you talk about the applications that are available and where they're being conducted, first and foremost, the FAA wants to see that safety and oversight of the operations. This is the primary objective, but they've been very, very supportive about getting any and all reasonable applications going, and making those resources available. You're talking, spraying of agriculture. That's a huge agricultural fields. It's a huge field. Law enforcement oversight, spectral imaging, infrared imaging for search and rescue operations, photogrammetry, which is the collection of aerial data imaging tied to very precise measurements. that can be used for support of land survey or land management, waste site management, all kinds of things. It's going to be permeating almost every activity that we've come to traditionally know as being conducted with other means. The increase in work efficiency, decrease in workloads, increase of safety margins, improved accuracies. I could go on and on. Any type of commercial activity and non-commercial activity for that matter will benefit from the technologies that are evolving on the unmanned side.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Yeah, and Rod, likewise, I mean, I'm sure 5G's got a lot of applications that most people don't even realize. We don't even know what we don't know, right?
Well,
and you had a comment on what Art said too.
Yeah, ours are just getting started. But I wanted to maybe bring up a crossover between these two, because we actually not too long ago did a test here that something that DOCOMO uses in Japan. We're using drones to inspect our towers. So we'll go on. We have 145 towers, cell towers all over Guam. And we'll actually fly the drone out to the tower, and we'll go, you program the shape of the tower. The drone will go out and do a video inspection all the way up around, flying around the tower, and inspect for any rust, any maintenance that needs to be done. And otherwise we had to always deploy an entire crew who have to go out, they have to climb the tower. The drone allows us to do that inspection in real time and have a video of exactly what the condition is. So it's I think there's a great crossover. I think that really the sky's the limit when it comes to the use cases.
I wanted to ask
one other thing I did, or you got, I'm sorry, Jason. One of the things I did want to mention too is that the government of Guam and the governor signed into legislation quite recently, legislation that for unmanned and drone operators that relocate to Guam or do their business in Guam for qualifying tax certificate exemptions, which is economic incentive for these larger companies to relocate here to conduct those type of activities. And what that means for the island not only is bringing those technologies here, bringing career paths, particularly for the younger kids coming out of college, and a lot of economic benefits to surrounding businesses that will benefit from that type of presence. So it's really, really good news, and several companies that we're aware of are in the process of looking at Guam as a reasonable location to come to conduct.
Well, I wanted to kind of dovetail off that, Art, if I may, because one thing that I wanted to inquire of both of you gentlemen is, we were talking about, enterprise uses, federal, local government. And I can appreciate how both of you said, we want to foster the R&D spirit and say, there are completely new applications that don't even exist today on Guam, or for the most part in industry, that can be generated with these technologies. What could you say for people watching right now, some prospective entrepreneurs that say, I want to get involved with technology, but the infrastructure or the devices just haven't really existed in my market just yet. How are you enabling them to actually take their ideas to the next level and say, it goes from being a pipe dream into an actual product or service?
Well, I can, Rod, if you don't mind, I can kick that off. On our end, Jason, in addition to some of the services we provide, we also have developed a curriculum for commercial license preparation. It involves it involves getting Federal Aviation Administration commercial licenses under FAR, Federal Aviation Regulation Part 107. It involves teaching basic drone flying skills. We're actually in possession of 2 very high quality simulators here that allow not only the prospective student or to develop those flying skills, and to also practice enterprise type skills, and that would be in search and rescue, those type of things. So our intent really is to develop a more ongoing curriculum that involves more and more of the technologies. We teach some of the software that is involved in, for instance, 3D mapping, volumetric management for landfills, mines, quarries, those type of things. So it's evolving for us also. That's what we're doing on that end. So we'll very, very shortly we'll be adding to some of those courses. We partnered with Guam Community College in an aviation studies program, and we hope to have these skills also, or these curriculums implemented there also very soon. Hopefully, perhaps in the fall semester, I'm not sure.
You know, one of the things that I thought might be really good along this line. Recently, we had a call. The DOCOMO's parent company is NTT Communications. It's a limited. They're a big global company. They operate all over the world. They have we recently had a call. They have a program called Smart Cities program, where they're looking at different ways to use technology and, you know, including the 5G technology in how they, you know, run a city. And they have a trial right now going on in Las Vegas, one in Austin, Texas as well. And what they're doing is I mean, there's so many things that are involved in this, but one of them is they do facial recognition and in security services. They also do kind of a macro view of where people are moving. They're very careful to protect people's identity, but they see where crowds are gathering, and then they're able to plan their emergency services so that they're available wherever there's a crowd gathered, or when it gets so intense, they want to make sure that they align those things. So every one of these things, even though DOCOMO's, I mean, NTT is working on the smart city, they're looking at maybe coming to Guam and doing a small market version of that. And how can they apply these different things? Every one of these different kind of resources is not going to be run by the government. There's independent companies, local companies that will be emerging to take care of each one of these things as we identify these different ways to do things. Video surveillance for that makes policemen less necessary. You can have them watching what's going on at an intersection. Improve safety. There's a long list that was on in this things that they're developing. And so, I think that, really almost anything that touches technology. So anybody who's interested in something like that, those are going to be opportunities.
All right. We've only got a couple of minutes left. Let me ask you first, Art, talk a little bit about your final thoughts and the cost effectiveness of the services that you're offering.
Well, again, I go back, Nestor, to some of the advantages and that the drone industry does bring to the to the marketplace. Increases work efficiencies and productivities, decreases workloads in almost every type of aspect across the board. Maybe most importantly, and in many cases, it greatly increases safety margins. We were talking earlier about doing inspections of certain facilities, rooftops, and those type of things. So there's going to be a great benefit there. Improved accuracies. Drones are can be connected through very, very precise global positioning system instrumentation to provide support and accuracies for some of the things that are done on the ground traditionally by other means. It refines customer service capabilities. It's going to offer the commercial marketplace new abilities to offer new products and services. And it resolves security issues also. Many of the companies that, I should say not many, but several of the companies that we work with here at the airport are involved in security. And many of the methods of providing that type of oversight and surveillance have been done by fixed wing, very expensive aircraft, long range aircraft. And now through these new technologies, are being able to be provided by drones that are being operated through what we call a mesh network, or a system of networks that relay data across long distances. And so all kinds of great benefits. The technologies are emerging so fast, it's almost a full-time job staying on top of what the new capabilities are going to be and what the new opportunities will bring.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Robert, we're going to give you the final word, and you are one of those that have to keep on top of all these innovations. So where do we go from the driverless vehicle? Where do you think that's headed?
You know, I mean, we talked about some use of that, you know, in the tourism industry. We've talked about applications where, you know, in the evening you could take a drive down the beach in one of these carts that would be able to, you know, give you, you know, a full, you know, 4K view of whatever's going on. Everybody's looking for something to do. That's been discussed. I really feel like, you know, with 5G, it's something that as we develop it, like now you look on your phone and it's 3G, sometimes it's LTE, 4G, other times you're going to just see more and more 5G. The availability of the phones, that just has made everything go much faster. If you've got a 5G, if you've got a new Samsung, an S20 or 21, any of the iPhone 12s, they're all 5G phones. So you have a 5G. The issue for us is, you know, if you've got that 5G phone and now you're getting 5G, you know how much we charge for 5G? Nothing. You get it if you're in a hotspot and you're getting 5G, you're getting it with your cell service, and it just gets better and faster. And so as the market defines these things, we'll continue to expand the network across both, you know, Guam and Saipan.
All right. Of course, we could go on forever talking about this kind of stuff. I know Jason would. But we're out of time. So I want to thank you very much.
Was that 30 minutes already?
Yes, absolutely. Rod Voss is the president and CEO of DOCOMO Pacific, and Art Dawley is the president of Aviation Concepts and Tech Center Guam. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen. Of course, my colleague Jason Salas is always on top of all of these things. That's why I asked him to help me out on this particular show. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'm Nestor Licanto. We'll see you next week on In Full Zoom.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.